It is midday here in London, where there have been riots for a third night in a row. Prime Minister David Cameron has promised to increase the number of police on the streets tonight by 10,000. Buildings burned out of control as hundreds of youths in at least 10 separate boroughs looted shops, confronted police and set vehicles alight. Now, some of the worst fires were seen in Croydon and Clapham there in South London. Police there initially unable to protect even the fire crews. An extra 1,700 officers were drafted into the capital. That did very little to deter the rioters. And let's bring you the picture in the rest of the country. Birmingham, Liverpool, Bristol as well saw trouble. David Cameron cut short his holiday. He's returned to take charge of the situation. With the very latest, here's Gordon Carrera.
Scenes of chaos and devastation. Sights no one had predicted and which have shocked the country. This was a furniture store in Croydon, South London last night, ablaze with flames and smoke reaching into the sky. This morning, the owners gave their reaction.
Why would this happen to us? Because 150 years of service is just gone in a flash. If it is the community doing it, we don't understand. It's not comprehensive. There must be something completely wrong in the system of the country that allows this to happen.
Yesterday there was trouble in the afternoon in Hackney. In broad daylight there were running battles between youths and police. This wave of violence began following the death of this man, Mark Duggan, on Thursday in Tottenham. He was shot by police in circumstances still unclear. Protests began locally at his killing with a march to the police station, but tension boiled over into violence, which has spread across London and now to other cities.
These have been the worst scenes of violence and disturbance on our streets for many, many years. And that this sort of violence, this level of criminality, this thuggery, this looting, this theft, is completely unacceptable. We can deal with it. We can deal with it with robust policing, with good use of intelligence, but also with the help and support of local communities.
There now appears little unifying the violence, other than a desire to cause damage and to steal. It's led to football games being called off, including the England friendly tomorrow at Wembley, and it's less than a year until London is due to host the Olympics. This unverified footage put up on YouTube appears to show an injured young man being initially helped by others before they decide to steal what they can from his rucksack. The police are at full stretch. All cells in London are now full. 3 people have been arrested on suspicion of the attempted murder of a police officer. Police have blamed social media for helping to spread the trouble and asked parents to take responsibility for their children. In Battersea last night, police used armoured vehicles and say they'll now consider using this tactic elsewhere. There have even been calls for the use of water cannons, the introduction of curfews or bringing in the army. This morning there was an emergency meeting of the Cabinet Crisis Committee, COBRA, chaired by the Prime Minister, who'd returned early from his holiday. Parliament is being recalled for a day on Thursday, and the Prime Minister said extra measures would be taken.
Compared with the 6,000 police on the streets last night in London, there will be some 16,000 officers tonight. All leave within the Metropolitan Police has been cancelled. There will be aid coming from police forces up and down the country, and we will do everything necessary to strengthen and assist those police forces that are meeting this disorder.
This morning many communities are cleaning up. They're hoping that tonight will not bring more trouble, and hoping that police and the government can find a way of preventing that happening. Gordon Carrera, BBC News.
Let's talk to Sean Bailey now. He's a youth worker and runs his own youth organisation. Sean, thanks very much for joining us. I think the question most people are asking today is why?
I mean, there's lots of social issues involved. What it is, if you've been in England for the last 20 years, you spent a long time teaching our children about their rights and very little about their responsibility. And lots of children have sort of taken that on and said, right, we can do as we please, we can't be challenged. You ask any school teacher how hard it is to discipline a child. If a school teacher disciplines a child and the child makes an allegation, it's immediately assumed that the teacher's in the wrong. And that kind of abdication of responsibility has led to this, is one of the issues involved.
I just heard an interview on World Service Radio with a 17-year-old girl who was involved in the rioting last night. She said it was fun. It's not even a riot, it's showing the police we can do what we want. That's what it's about. It's showing the police that we can do what we want, and we have. I mean, does that kind of comment surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me. You've got to remember this is a small section of the youth in London, in Britain in general, but this is an attitude that is prevalent amongst all youth. We have abdicated power, we've given all the power, and then this is just one way of exercising it. Also, earlier on in the year we had riots, and you had a lot of people from certain political backgrounds talking up riots as a way of expressing yourself. Our children use it now, a way of expressing themselves.
It doesn't seem that they're making a political statement here. I mean, David Cameron came out and said this is criminality, pure and simple.
No, what I said, I didn't say it's an expression of social problem. I said an expression of themselves. They're constantly told what a bad situation they're in. They're constantly told how angry they are. Actually, it's not true. If you compare us to, on an international stage, we provide more for our children than most countries even dream of. You know, from what we would consider basics, free education, right up to youth work, social clubs. We even have a national youth citizen service now, 10,000 children alone involved in that.
But do you think we would see this kind of behaviour from young people in other countries? This kind of criminality, the looting and the violence that we saw last night?
With this kind of start point, no, I don't. I just don't think my knowledge of German children or Austrian or French children from West Indies, they simply do not have that high opinion of themselves that they feel they could riot.
Where does the family come in here, Sean? Because we saw the Police Commissioner, Tim Godwin, say last night to parents, find out where your kids are, find out where those that you're responsible are and get them home.
But that shows you where we are. In any other country, you wouldn't have to suggest to people that they should keep their children in, and particularly if there's riots going on. That's where we are now. Parenting, it clearly is key, but we're one of the few countries in the world that argue about what is a family. One of the few countries in the world who've tried to nationalise the raising of children.
So these young girls that I was talking about before, they want it to happen tonight. They're looking forward to it. Who are they going to listen to now to stop them coming out if it's not going to be their mum and dad?
You better understand, children in Britain are parentless in this very important sense. They don't believe that they should listen to their parents, and neither do their parents. That's why the police commissioner had to say, could you please ask your children to stay in?
So David Cameron coming out today with strong words, community leaders coming out with strong words, is that going to stop them?
Funny enough, this is one situation where I think politicians can help because they can give a lead, a direction we're travelling in. Community leaders are always powerful, and there are separate, different sets of parents. There's some parents who do have that control, and that will lessen the number of children out on the street. And I must stress, when I say children, I'm basically talking about people sort of 25 downwards, you know, not young children.
Lots of talk as well, Sean, about the role of social media. Do you think that that's being over-pushed or overstretched, or do you think it's played a really fundamental role in how these kids have mobilised?
Social media, it's not the fault of social media. All social media is a technology that the kids are very comfortable with. You know, my grandparents would have I don't know, sent a telegram. These kids send a text. It's what they deal with. It has been the catalyst because you can deliver information so quickly, but it isn't the fault of social media.
If we see more violence on the streets tonight, the police numbers have gone up incredibly, from 6,000 to 16,000 now, David Cameron has said. Is that kind of show of force going to deter young people?
I think the problem the police have is that for the last 5 or 6 years, we have really pressured our police. They're scared of their own shadow. If you watch the footage, a lot of the time the police are present, but they don't really want to do anything too aggressive because they get tried in the media and they're accused of all kinds of brutality, so they step back. So 16,000 police will make a difference visually, but will they make a physical difference? I think we'll have to see about that.
Sean, thank you very much for joining us. Lots of talking points there. We'd like to hear from you as well, because there's so much to digest with what's been going on in London and the rest of the UK. But we've got all the information that you'll need. We're keeping you right up to date on our website, bbcnews.com. There's all the latest international reaction from Spain and China as well about the violence. We also have a picture gallery, some incredibly striking images, and you can read eyewitness accounts there as well. bbc.com/news. Let's return to our main story now, the riots across the UK. Let's speak to Adrian Mills. He was in Ealing last night. His restaurants were damaged in some of the riots. He joins us now on the line. Adrian, thanks for talking to us. Tell us about your experience last night.
Well, you know, we're in a situation where we're very lucky. We actually have a chain of 12 restaurants across London. We were given a notice around about 9:30 in Northcote Road that there was a problem because the members of the public that were eating there were paying very quickly and leaving because members of their family were texting them saying, get away because there's something happening down at Clapham Junction. We phoned around the restaurants. I spoke to the manager at Ealing, and she said, my God, I don't know what to do. She said, the Tesco on the corner of Haven Green. For anybody that knows Ealing, leafy suburb, it's next to Ealing Broadway Tube Station, small Tesco there. There was a gang of about 20 or 40 youths with others joining them every second, smashing in the front doors, kicking in the windows. They then moved on to the pizza restaurant next door, and then they came to our restaurant, which is next to that, at which point I was saying, get into the back, get into the kitchen, just get out of the way, lock as much as you can, and just hide. They completely trashed the place. They kicked down the glass panel doors. They then ran into the restaurant. They ripped out the till. They took all the alcohol off the shelves. They smashed up the place. They hurled glasses everywhere. And then they took the chairs out onto the street. And it's a residential area. And what they did is they started smashing the chairs against car windscreens, denting cars, scratching cars, and continued to just keep running in and out of the restaurant, stealing things. It was looting on a mass scale. It was lawlessness, the like of which in 40 years of living in London I have never seen. And I'm here in Ealing today, and it's just a scene of devastation with people standing there going, what on earth has happened here?
And to explain to our viewers, Ealing is a more well-to-do suburb than some of the other parts of London that have a lower socioeconomic population.
I have to interrupt you there because you say that, but Ealing acts as a magnet for all the other areas around. There is a lot of trouble here in Ealing on a Friday and Saturday, and the council have done a lot to try and improve the situation. Ironically, we pay extra rates for our business for extra policing. But of course, this is not just a few drunks on a Saturday night. This was a riot, a crowd of people that were completely and utterly wild, lawless human beings.
Adrian, thanks very much for joining us. Good luck with the clean-up today. And just to add to what Adrian was saying on Twitter, lots of people have been mobilising to help with the clean-up in these suburbs of London that have been affected. That's really happening in Ealing, we've seen today as well. So perhaps one of the only bright signs of what we've seen overnight here in London. We just wanted to bring you a dramatic picture from last night here in London. This is a woman jumping safely into the arms of rescuers in South London. Stay with us. In our next edition of GMT, we'll have more on the worst riots in London for decades.